It'll be me, Senator Mary Fitzpatrick, Chair, and I'm here in LH 2000.
Thanks, Senator Fitzpatrick. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and thanks, Conor, and all of the team for joining us at the Joint Oireachtas Committee today. This is hugely important, the National Marine Planning Framework. I want to congratulate all of you on the work, 3.5 years, and in some respects this is only the start of it, but well done. It is hugely important that we set out the strategic planning objectives for all of the economic and environmental activities in our marine territory. And I suppose considering how large our marine territory is, one of the largest in Europe and 7 times our landmass, it is imperative that this framework, the marine framework, is robust and sustainable and as the Chair has already said, very comprehensive. I acknowledge and we all appreciate the significant public consultation that you engaged in, but I suppose what I would like to hear from you is, obviously there's a piece of work to get the framework through the 2 houses of the Oireachtas, but assuming that your success will continue there, can you talk to how the implementation of the National Marine Planning Framework will be monitored and how compliance to it will be measured and reported on?
Thank you very much, Senator, for your questions and your comments. I appreciate them. I think there's a number of strands to this, and I might share the floor with a couple of my colleagues for the answer. But I suppose initially the governance of the National Marine Planning Framework at a high level will be as part of the Project Ireland 2040 family. So we're working with our colleagues in public expenditure reform at the moment to create a governance group there, which will be called, and it was identified in the programme for government, Project Ireland Marine 2040, and will be something of a subgroup to the broader Project Ireland Oversight Board. We'll be looking to align the NMPF with both the NDP and the currently being developed Harnessing Our Ocean Wealth to the successor plan to the very successful Harnessing Our Ocean Wealth. So all of these plans, the statutory, strategic and the financial plan, if you like, should be speaking in harmony with each other. So I suppose at the highest level, that's the broad governance arrangement. In terms of other arrangements in place, we have, as I mentioned, an advisory group who have been critical to the development of the NMPF in getting us this far. I will hope that they will transform somewhat, but not totally, like to keep the same membership, into an implementation advisory group, so that they will have that oversight and give us the handrails, I suppose, and steer us as we go forward into it. In terms of the nitty-gritty of monitoring, Tom, I might ask you to come in on this part. Tom Woolley, please.
Yes, thank you, Conor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Fitzpatrick. Yes, just to add to what Conor's spoken to there, you'll find in the plan in Chapter 25 we've set out some ambitions around implementation monitoring, and I should add it's going to be a focus of activity following establishment of the plan. To focus on monitoring particularly, I think there are a number of steps we'll be taking, and as Conor mentioned, we'll be doing this working with stakeholders and across government with different departments. I think an important principle is to bear in mind is that implementation and monitoring are obviously very much linked. So implementation is about applying the plan, and monitoring is going to be looking at how well that's been done and how effectively that's been done, and the results of the plan having been applied. I think one of the first steps on the path will be to agree what we're calling a monitoring approach, which will be a system of measures that will be put in place to make sure that we are looking at every aspect of the plan and how it's been applied. So that's process, outcome and context monitoring. And we'll be looking at that in partnership with the Marine Institute. And some of the first steps we'll be looking at is establishing a baseline. So in the first days of the plan, whichever policy it might be that you're looking at, what's the current situation? And then as time goes on, we can monitor the progress on the plan, be it process, outcome and context, against that baseline. We'll be establishing indicators, looking at the best available knowledge to understand the change that's come about as a result of the plan being applied. And as a result, we'd like to establish kind of regular or semi-regular reporting process, potentially yearly, depending on what's agreed with stakeholders involved. And through that process, we'll develop a good baseline for making recommendations as and when it becomes time to update the NMPF. So hopefully that gives a short snapshot into our approach to monitoring and what we have planned. It will be an evolving field, and every policy area will vary in terms of how much confidence we can put behind understanding and being able to monitor things. But where we can, we'll be taking advantage of existing monitoring programs. So hopefully that gives you a snapshot, but happy to provide more detail if you have further questions.